There, hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute, 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website about reimagining your life. Thanks for joining me today to talk about, well, kind of just embracing every single moment of the day. And so let's get started. If you like what you hear tonight, please send me a message, leave a like, subscribe, tell your friends. Thanks for joining me tonight to talk about treasuring every one of life's little moments. So it's a simple topic, and so probably will be pretty short tonight because not a lot really needs to be said about it, except, it's good to say it ever out loud every now and again and kind of remind people of the importance of staying kind of in the present of what's going by. And, I'm very well aware that many of life's moments don't seem especially treasure worthy, as it were, but we often forget how many things have to work right to even have a bad day, quite frankly. There are many reasons why talking about this right now, including the place of work in my life and priorities and things like that. Recently, actually last week, I attended part of FinCon 24 down in Atlanta, and that had a big impact upon me, mostly because it kind of reminded me to revisit my goals and perspectives. I always see people I know from previous shows there and friends from the podcast world and other related worlds, and met some new friends and new people. And it always changes how you look at life when you get around a lot of people thinking in the same way, where they all have a positive perspective. And it's very refreshing, it's very energizing. So that had part of the impact on it. And then the other part is that last night, it turns out, one of my neighbors was found to have passed away, which was, you know, very sad thing no matter what. But he was a very quiet individual, but I could usually get him to talk. I'd run into him when I was walking. I walk around a lot. And then over the past few months, he started talking to everyone a lot more and suddenly seemed to realize that, the kind of pleasure of being around people. He's always a very quiet and isolated sort of fellow. And so a few weeks ago, we stood in his driveway and talked probably for over a half hour, probably close to three-quarters of an hour, which is really, really unusual. And he was laughing, which is really unusual, and wanted to get together again to walk some more. And he really seemed like a new person. And I was thinking about all the years he was hesitant to do that and only discovered the joy of sharing life's good moments shortly before his passing. And that is what got me thinking about this topic, along with a Facebook post that I saw pretty recently, mostly ignored, but it's from a group of old friends of mine, some of whom I've known for over 6 decades, quite frankly. And it was mostly wailing in terms of angst because the Washington Post took the stance of not endorsing any candidate. And I do wonder how many of the complainers and accusers took the time to fully read Jeff Bezos' statement on the subject. Now, old Jeff and I, we disagree on many things, but his article was excellent. It isn't easy to find. I was going to try and find a quick way to search on Google before here. And but unfortunately, not surprisingly, it's kind of hidden in the noise, and because everyone wants to talk about, look at it from a negative light. Simply, Google returned everyone's comments and criticisms of the article, but it was actually very difficult to find the link to the article in the Washington Post from the person who owns it. Not shocking the way the news works these days. But Jeff's point was that newspapers shouldn't be picking sides. They should be reporting the news and rebuilding trust. And both those things are extremely true. He went on to say that the decision should have been made sooner, but later is better than never, and he took responsibility for that. One would think that should be front page news, but that's not how life works these days. Instead, the news and my friends blasted everything, and because someone dared to find a different point of view, they had to condemn the action and everything about it. So much for empathy, compassion, open mindedness, and very importantly, a balanced life perspective. That was the tipping stone, the tipping point for this simple reminder to truly treasure every moment in life. Rather than trying to learn anything about the world and other people's perspectives, you know, instead of the accusations flew and spleens were vented in public over politics. I know it certainly made me rethink some things and really reevaluate the place of social media in my life and the place of people who are so quick to accuse and judge others, often in the most demeaning terms. And then I thought of the people I met at FinCon, which, by the way, is the friendliest conference on earth, period. If you ever get a chance, go there. FINCON, most accepting group of people you'll ever find. And then, of course, of my neighbor. And he had just started to discover the pleasure that's possible to have in the world because he was, you know, actually reaching out and finding other people. And then he was called to leave the world behind. Hence, this short reminder every moment really and truly does matter because once it's gone forever. It's up to you, what you want to do in every moment. We talk about this often. You can be an agent for positive change or for negative change. The decision is up to you, but once the decision is made, it can never be undone for the rest of eternity. That's why I encourage people to always take the opportunity to improve the world even one teeny bit with a smile or a kind word, sorry. You are never sure how big the positive impact it might have, and it might even save someone's life. I think of my neighbor, and I was glad to have spoken with him over the years, and especially more recently. I hope it had some effect in his taking a chance to kind of venture out and meet some more of his neighbors and to start to realize life doesn't have to be isolated. The cost to me was low, a little bit of time. But my neighbor next door, he commented to me how friendly he always was, and which was a total reversal of his very shy self from before. To me, that was such a beautiful payback for a few minutes of sharing some time with someone else. The decision is yours now. When something is exactly what you want, you know, how do you want that moment to be remembered? And if you have the chance to make a positive influence, will you decide to make the investment? The world and the US didn't get so hard hearted by huge changes. It got that way one decision at a time. And it can get better the same way, one decision at a time. Every moment counts. Every moment deserves to be treasured. Make the most of each one and try your best to end it with a smile. I know it's often difficult, and none of us will always succeed, but searching for smiles instead of anger is a good place to start. So that's it for the evening. Your homework, always optional, is just stay aware of your actions in every moment and to try and find the good in the things around you. Time passes by with little notice, so it's up to you to notice the good around you and to take advantage of it. No extra points tonight. The message and the actions are pretty simple. Please remember the many wars actively in the world, in Ukraine, Middle East, Africa, a lot of stuff going on. South America has things going on, just a lot of things. And if you can and you're able, UKR7, we talk about every week, places we can donate to in Ukraine, and then World Central Kitchen, WCK.org. They work throughout the world in areas where disasters have happened. Another good group to be with. All these things, we talk about this every week, right? One of the best ways to care for yourself is to care for others. If you look outside yourself, it gives you a different perspective on the world and really changes your outlook and how you tend to act towards people. So if you can and you're able, pick one of these groups, pick a different group locally, and if you don't want to or just can't make a donation, as always, just smile at somebody. Just say something nice. It can be a simple word, simple morning, just something, and it can change somebody's day. As always, thank you for stopping by. If you found something interesting or useful, please pass it along and please subscribe and hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great weekend. Remember to live the life that you dreamed of because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone, and see you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.